Hi, welcome to the video. In this video I'm going to show you how to enrich a simple progression by substituting chords and whole bars of this world famous chord progression which every guitarist on earth has played at least once in his life. Now of course we're talking about the 12-bar major blues progression. Let's take a note of the origin of this musical style. Well, the blues originates in the 60s of the 19th century by African Americans, where the early blues was used as spiritual music and used as work songs. It has a specific order of chords and rhythm, of which the 12-bar blues is the most common. Now, also the blue note, or worried note, as they call it, the diminished fifth in the blues scale, is a characteristic note that triggers the blues sound just like the flattened seventh. Now for this, the progression is often drenched in dominant 7 chords, which also gives the blues a specific sound. Now later in musical history, the original blues progression has evolved into jazz, rhythm and blues and rock and roll, and even in modern rock there are references to this musical style. So enough of a white Dutchman talking about the origin of the blues, right? Now the 12-bar blues is an essential part of jazz. The other way around, jazz can be part of blues and can enrich the standard 12-bar blues progression to create a more evolved and therefore more interesting harmonical structure. Now, let's look at the standard 12-bar major blues, which is formed by the tonic, the subdominant and the dominant. The order of chords is almost in every case the same, and the chords are by default dominant 7 chords. Now, sometimes the tonic in the second bar is replaced by the subdominant to create some variation. Now this variation is called the quick change or quick 4, referring to the 4th harmonic degree. In this video I'm going to use the A major blues to keep it simple and understandable. You can transpose these ideas to any key yourself if you like. I'm certain you know how it sounds. Still, here's how it sounds. The blues in A. Now the 2-5-1 progression is very common in jazz music. And here we're going to substitute the tonic in bar 4 with such a 2-5-1 progression. We play the E minor 7 chord, followed by the A dominant 7 chord and end on the D chord in bar 5. Then we have created a 2-5-1 progression in the key of D major, as you can see here. We could now play this progression with substitutions. Now we could also play an alternate version of this 2-5-1 progression by using an E minor 7 and an A13 chord, creating a basic descending melody line in the voicings G, F sharp and E. Or create a chromatic line using an E9 chord and an A flat 13 chord. Of which the latter can be seen as a so-called altered chord. Now in bar 6 the 4 chord can be substituted for the sharpened 4 diminished 7 chord, rather than repeating the 4 chord as we did in the standard 12-bar blues version. Now this substitution is a textbook example. In jazz the dominant chord can be substituted by the diminished chord of the root, which is a semitone higher. So D7 can be substituted with a D sharp diminished 7 chord. And it sounds like this. why this works has two reasons. The first explanation is that the last three notes of the dominant 7 chord, in this case the D dominant 7 chord, form a diminished chord with the notes F sharp, A and C. Now let's take this a step further and we'll turn this into a F sharp diminished 7 chord by adding again a minor third to the diminished chord. Now because this diminished 7 chord consists of only minor thirds, we now have 4 diminished chords that have the same notes. F sharp diminished 7, A diminished 7, C diminished 7 and E flat diminished 7. The last one is enharmonically the same as the D sharp diminished 7 chord. So all these chords have a lot in common with the D7 chord and therefore can replace the D7 chord. Especially the D sharp diminished 7 chord creates a nice chromatic line to the 5th of the tonic A7. Now the other reason is simple. By playing a D sharp diminished 7 chord, we almost play a D7 flat 9 chord. There's not much difference. Now this is also a reason that the substitution of a D7 chord with a D sharp diminished 7 chord works like a charm. The last 4 bars in the blues progression is the moment that the improvising musician shows his craftsmanship and throws in some awesome chops and signature licks. But not only the soloist proves his reason of existence at this point, also the rhythm guitarist shows what he's made of. Now the first ingenious move is to substitute the dominant and the subdominant chord, the E7 and D7 chord, for a 2nd and 5th degree in the key of A major. So we get a 2-5-1 in bar 9, 10 and 11. Now for that we have to use a B minor chord, which is the 2nd degree in the A major key. And then an E7 chord, which is the dominant 5th degree in the E major key. And it sounds like this. Or you could make a variation to create chromatic lines using the B7 flat 13 chord. Now the chromatic line that is created by this is G, G sharp and A. Now we're not finished yet with enhancing the last 4 bars of this 12-bar blues progression, because we have yet another harmonic construction that we find so often in jazz, and that is the turnaround. We will substitute the A7 and E7 chord, the dominant and the tonic, in bars 11 and 12 with a 1-6-2-5 progression in A major, leading back to the tonic in bar 1. Now the last part of this construction is called the turnaround, with the chords A7, F sharp, minor 7, B minor 7 and E7. And it sounds like this. Now the turnaround has 2 distinct properties. First, the roots of the progression move in fifths, which establishes a clear tonality. Now second, because of the contrast of the minor and major chords in this progression, it will strengthen the key. And in this case, the A major key, of course. Now we can also create a dominant chain by transforming all the chords of the turnaround into dominant 7 or dominant 9 chords, or even altered chords. An example could be A13, F sharp 9, the B altered chord, E7 and then back to the A7 chord. Now to finalize our chord substitution extravaganza, we're going to add another 2-5-1 in bar 8, preceding the 2-5-1 that starts in bar 9. In other words, we're going to play a 2-5-1 in B minor, and to do that we need the half diminished chord on the 2nd degree of B minor, which is the C sharp minor 7 flat 5 chord. And we need the dominant chord on the 5th degree in B minor, which is the F sharp dominant 7 chord. And this sounds so cool. Listen to this. Now our masterpiece is ready to go in production. Let's walk through the whole progression to summarize our efforts. Now starting in bar 1 we've added a quick change in the second bar. In bar 4 we have substituted the A7 chord with this 2-5-1 progression in D major. The D7 chord in bar 6 is substituted by the sharpened and diminished 4th degree, a textbook example of a dominant 7 chord substitution. In bar 8 and 9 we've added a 2-5-1 in B minor in order to create another 2-5-1 in A major in bars 9, 10 and 11. Then to finalize the jazz blues progression we've substituted the tonic and the dominant 5th degree with a nice turnaround. And it sounds like this. So you see, a blues progression doesn't need to be predictable at all. You can really pimp this standard 12-bar blues progression with some great harmonic ideas. And now you know how and why the things we did work so well, you can project these ideas to any progression in any style. Well, I hope you can deploy this and make it your own and create some interesting progressions. Now, don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. And I say greets from the Netherlands, and I see you soon in the next video. Bye!